Greetings and salutations, good people. It's your man Nashan with my boy HT, the lightbulb of Higher Thought, and you are watching Lessons in Deeper Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Watching or listening to, one of the two.
Yeah, one of.
Either way, thank you guys for joining us today. We got a lot to cover because we're going to talk about one of those subjects that like everybody goes through when they start to wake up, a little bit into, the wider world. And the sort of thing that we all sort of fall into when you get started. And that's how to navigate the spiritual rabbit holes. Yeah.
That's a heavy one.
Well, yeah, because we all go through it.
Yeah.
We all go through it. When you get started, it feels so good to be enlightened. It feels so good to get out here and learn things. And then you find out there's so much to know.
Almost too much to know.
It's too much to know.
It's too much to know. It's difficult because at first, for some people, this is outside of my experience, so I'm speaking from both my experience and people that I've talked to. And at first, it's kind of like a high.
Yeah.
It's like a high. It's like getting your first hit. It's like, oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
this is some good esoteric shit, man. This is good.
Yeah, but it also still depends on the moment of awakening.
Yeah, and the method.
How
it happens,
because sometimes you get the whole blinded by the light thing, and it's not very pleasant.
It can be scary.
It can be very, very scary, especially if that's not a world that you are open to, or I guess I would say aware. Your awareness just wasn't focused there.
Or it's not part of your sphere for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are coming to it from this background where you didn't talk about these things, or it was just sort of like, you mention it, but like in private or whatever. And if you talk about them, then you're talking about the devil. It's the devil.
Yeah, it's the devil.
It's the devil. Not devil. So then you don't want to talk about it because it makes people uncomfortable or whatever, and it's scary to talk about it, whatever. But when you start to awaken into this new enlightened way of thinking, and you start saying, okay, well, I'm going to commit to explore and figure out what some of this stuff is. When you start to do it, you find out that there's so many avenues to pursue that it's like, okay, well, what's the right one? I mean, I've literally had people come up and ask, like, which path should I follow? And I'm like, I don't know. It's not my job to figure that out. It's yours.
Yeah, that's definitely up to you. And that's difficult too. Like when people, because I understand what it's like to have, you're going to have those questions, right? Yeah. Which way should I go? What should I do? What should I read?
Yeah.
And, a lot of times what I tell people, because your journey is exactly that. Your journey.
Yeah.
It's more emphasis on you than anybody or anything else. But I always tell people, start with where your questions are.
Well, that's the thing. I should do that too. But then you can lead people. Well, people can start with a question and then go find 35 answers for that question and get lost and get frustrated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially if you don't have research skills and discernment, which is
even still, like, even if you do, but you're like, okay, somebody asks you about meditation. How many different types of meditation are there? Exactly.
Where we want to go with that.
Exactly. So you start getting into meditation and you say, okay, well, do you want to do this whole, the whole monk thing where you're doing the Om? Are you doing silence? Are you doing sensory deprivation? Are you doing, sensory overload meditation? Are you doing stillness work? Are you doing breath work? Or, there's so many ways to go down that rabbit hole. So it's, what I wanted to do today was talk about how to narrow some of those searches so you don't get lost in all these rabbit holes that you could end up going down, because you could spend years just on astrology or meditation or yoga, even just the different types of yoga you could spend years on,
because these turn into professions for some people,
right? So
you might get into one and like that's their strict field, and some people want a broad base of things, so it's kind of, where do you want to go with this,
right? And then so that you don't end up with like for me, when I first got started in the craft, I said, okay, well, I want to be a witch, and I'm like, yeah, okay, do you know how many types of witches there are out there? Like hundreds of them. So it's like there's different veins of study, different things you can try to study and understand. There's different ways to be everything. So what I want to talk about today was to try to figure out, how do you narrow that search down to figure out which rabbit hole is right for you. Okay. So, all right. I got a list. I made a list. Preparation. I went like before the show and did some stuff instead of just winging it. So I made a list of 5 things that you should, five ways to narrow your search to try to get to a place where you really understand what it is you're pursuing and how to actually get something out of it, rather than just, because you could literally go to a library and just, read for the next 30 years of, the different paths, and then still not ever having practiced one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
And that's one of the rabbit holes, is getting stuck in the constantly learning rabbit hole, where you're just taking in
information every day.
Right, but never applying it, so it doesn't actually benefit you. You know what I mean? So, okay. First, rule number 1. Spirituality begins and ends with you. And what I mean by that is that you have to understand, no matter whether you're talking about a relationship with the deity, if you're talking about the pursuit of a spiritual exercise, like learning how to astral travel, learning how to, to become in line with your spiritual energy, to attract people, or to use the secret or whatever, all of those things begin and end with you. There is no, okay, well, somebody else can do it. Like, the God will do it for me, or my angels will come, or my ancestors are going to come and do this. It does not work that way. It all begins and ends with you. So you have to start by claiming personal responsibility. This is my path. It's not my teacher's path to teach me. It's not my friend's path to instruct me, or it's not the book's path to show me. It's for me to explore. And that means I have to really evaluate and sort of take in the information, sit with it for a minute, and figure out what it actually does to me or means to me. Is this something that works? So if you say you want to try meditation, and you try a type of meditation and it doesn't work, okay, well, then it's my responsibility to go, this isn't working for me. I need a new flavor, and find a different flavor and explore that, and so on and so forth. You can't wait for someone else to bring it to you and go, well, when the time is right, the Lord will show me exactly which path. No.
Well, time is now.
Well,
time is now, but it's also, again, back to, you and your path, because all of the things that you can read and look up are things that other people have put into place.
Right. Their potentials.
They're potentials. And so you have to be able to get to a point where, if you want, like you say, okay, I tried this style of meditation doesn't really work for me. All right, let me try a different flavor. Yeah. You might end up having to create your own flavor.
Yep. And that's a hard thing, but you have to commit to it and say, okay, am I really going to explore this for real? And do I, basically my number one rule in life is own your shit. This is all on you. There's no one that's supposed to direct you and make it right for you. It's not what pastor said. It's not what grandma said. It's what you say, and own that responsibility. And then you'll start to find that the things that you don't like, you'll eliminate on your own if you own that choice. That, I don't have to do it because I think I'm supposed to. If you ever start with, I think I'm supposed to, or I'm supposed to do this, it's the wrong way to go. It can only be your choice. So
I'm gonna give claps for that, just for the people in the back. For the people in the back, because a lot of this comes down, and if you haven't heard us say it in the previous podcast, we'll probably say it in a future one. A lot of this comes down to choice. A lot of things in life comes down to choice. The decisions that you make is all a choice. Not choosing is a choice.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? That also is factored into it too. But at the end of the day, you have to do what is right for you. Yeah. Not what a book says, not what a person says, not what some invisible force being, deity has said. If it's your choice to follow that, cool.
Go for it.
Great. If it works for you, awesome. Amazing.
But own the choice.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. So it's like, okay, so let's say you've decided, I'm going to own my path. I want to figure out what this is. I'm going to make it my own. What do I do next? Okay, it's like it begins and ends with me. Well, then if you know it begins and ends with you, you have to explore you. You have to figure out who and what you are for real. Not the bullshit you tell your friends, not the stuff you show at work, not that fake self where you're like, oh, hi, I'm such a nice person. I'm here at my job being nice to everyone with me. I mean, like the person you actually are. And in my path, we call that shadow work, where you are exploring the truth of who you are. And you don't have to tell anybody, you know, you don't have to journal it if you don't want to, but you have to actually tell the truth about the nature of what you are so that you at least know what it is that you're doing. Because you can't pick a spiritual path if you don't know who you actually are and you're pretending, you know, you're basing your decisions off of who you're pretending to be, you know. Like, I want to be this fine, upstanding citizen in my community. I want everyone to respect me. Well, that's not who you are. That's who you want people to think you are. Who you actually are is the person who's sitting in the room by themselves doing whatever it is that you're doing, thinking whatever it is you're thinking.
Because even when you say those things like, oh, okay, I want people to respect me. Okay, who's me? What are they respecting?
Yeah.
What is it?
Why are you worthy of respect?
Yeah. What is this that you are giving off that you feel like you deserve that? Yeah. Not to say that you don't. Everybody deserves respect.
Yeah.
You know, but like, what is it that they're respecting? It's like if a chef is cooking a meal and like, I want everybody to think I want everybody to love my food. Okay, well, what kind of ingredients are in this food that they're going to love? Because I can guarantee you, I love food, but if it don't taste good, I don't like all food.
Yeah.
If it don't taste good, I'm not gonna like it. I'm gonna give you negative stars or whatever it is. Yeah. You're not gonna get a good review from me because I'm not gonna like the food. I need some good ingredients in there.
And that's what I mean. Like, if you're gonna, I guess for me the question is, yes, the ingredients in the food are important, but the question you should be asking yourself is, why do I want their approval? Why do I need it?
That's the quiet part out loud, because it's you're still looking for
affirmation, justification for who you are.
But something outside of yourself to give you that feeling.
Right.
When in reality, a lot of this work, a lot of this, you know, going down the spiritual rabbit holes and whatnot should be more to find you than anything.
Exactly.
It should be to figure out, okay, I want people to respect me, but do you respect you?
Oh my goodness! You gotta give yourself applause for that one. That was good. That was good. I love that one. Why do you respect you?
Yeah, and why? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel good when you think about yourself? Are you happy when you think about yourself? If you say, "Oh, okay, I want this person to love me, please."
Well, do you
love you? Because if you love you, please.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't necessarily need that other person to love you.
It's a bonus if they do.
Yeah, it's a great. You like, oh wait, they love me too.
Yeah,
they love me too. Oh, they respect me too.
Yeah,
that's great. Those are my kind of people.
Exactly.
Those are my kind of people. If they don't, cool. Thanks for the hate. Appreciate it. I'll transmute it and use it to my advantage.
Exactly.
You know, it's become an alchemist with it.
Exactly.
So it's really all about you and your universe, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and figuring that part out is the part that people avoid the most, because you know, it's easy to hide in other people's problems. It's easy to hide in everything outside of yourself. And one of the rabbit holes that I've seen people get trapped in is, you know, especially the learning rabbit hole, is because they keep learning and trying new things because they, you know, you ever had somebody who switches, like this week they're into astrology and the next week they're into, you know, communicating with spirits, and the next week they're into, you know, the natal chart, or the next week they're into, you know, I want to do Ouija boards or whatever else, because they're trying to find themselves in these pursuits. And rather than do the shadow work and sit down and be quiet in a room and actually talk to yourself and figure out what's going on, they look for themselves in everything that's external. And therein lies the problem, because if you're looking externally for yourself, you're never going to find it.
Yeah, no.
And you're avoiding it.
And a lot of those things that people looking for, like even with astrology, right? That's a rabbit hole people can fall down, because there's a reason why there's a bad rep, you know, with a lot of people in astrology, because some people feel like, oh, you're worshiping the stars or this and that. Some people might take that approach and they give astrology power over them.
Yeah.
You know, and well,
I'm an Aquarius, so I can't follow what you're saying right now because I'm just so flighty. I can't focus on anything.
Yeah, that's not necessarily, you know, how that works. Now
I'm a victim to my story.
Now me, when I started to learn more about astrology, I said, oh, okay, this is a great tool that I can use to maybe figure out, okay, how do I got into trying to figure out more about me, right? You get the natal chart. It has these, it's all math anyway. But you're like, okay, how does this relate to me? Not necessarily how does it relate to anybody else or anything external. Like, how can I learn more about myself and then better utilize this?
Well, yeah, and that's the key. That's what really shadow work is all about, is figuring out who the hell you actually are, and then taking that person that you figured out that you are and saying, okay, is this who I want to be? And that's the harder question once you start doing the shadow work, because people go, well, that's just how I am. No, it's not.
You can always change. You change every day.
Exactly.
You change every day. So you create these habits and whatnot that become parts of you, and people are uncomfortable with changing those. It's hard. It's never going to be easy. I would not sit here and tell you that shadow work is easy. I would not sit here and tell you that working on yourself is going to be easy. Nope. If it's easy, you're not doing it.
If you're sitting there like, man, I got all my shadow work done in a week. I'm pretty good at this stuff.
You didn't do it.
I'm fixed.
You didn't even write your name on the paper. I'm sorry, you get no points.
But I'm done though. I did my shadow work. I'm good.
No,
I'm a perfect person now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I fixed all my problems. I did my shadow. I am good to go. I'm a perfect human now.
The perfect human.
Exactly. So shadow work, you gotta recognize that it begins and ends with you. Do your shadow work, kind of figure out what's going on with you. Next, here comes the part that most people flunk at, myself included. Okay, and that is being honest in all the things that you do, and that is very, very difficult, because we don't like to admit things like, for the longest time, I had a fear of success. And that's a hard thing to admit to yourself when you're driven. You're an entrepreneur, you're doing things, and you realize, all these roadblocks that keep coming up and stopping me from doing the things that I do, I'm doing it to myself.
Yeah, because you're fearing the success that you're going to get. Because at some point you put in so much work where you're like, all right, it's almost impossible for me not to be successful now. So like, if I actually do this, like I've been wanting to and that I've been working towards, I'm going to be successful, and that is terrifying.
Well, right. And that's the thing, is like, I don't fear failure. Okay, I've failed before. I'm okay with that. I've learned how to deal with that. I had to come to terms with the fear that I am highly capable of things. I do know things that others don't know. I do have skills that others don't have, and the only reason I'm not utilizing them is because I'm afraid to do it. I'm afraid to go ahead and put myself out there like that and make it happen. So it's like, when you start to be honest about the real reasons, that's what the whole shadow work portion is about, is to figure out what's in your box, figure out what's clicking around in your head in there, and then you have to tell the truth to yourself about it. Do I want this level of success? Yes. Why am I afraid of it? Because I've only known being poor, and I'm afraid of what I might become if I get wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
because there's also stereotypes as far as people who are wealthy. They're not looked at in the great light most of the time.
And they become targets.
So now your lifestyle change and everything is now different. So you're not used to that, especially if it's overnight.
Right.
Or people that win the lottery. It's a completely different life. Everything that you used to know is no more now.
Right.
Or like, even if you get, I would say that's along the same lines as getting imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, now I see how big my light is or can be, and how much it can shine, and create this and create that and do this and do that, or all these great things. And it's like, nah, there's no way that's me. Like, nah.
But you can't say that, because if you do, you're arrogant. Did you just toot your own horn? You can't toot your own horn. That's arrogance.
Hey.
You think you're conceited. You think so much of yourself. It took me the longest time to figure out I'm not conceited. But there's a thing called confidence. Okay? And if you have it, people can sometimes think you're arrogant. And I started to, I tried to explain to people that I'm not arrogant. I don't believe I'm better than anybody else by any stretch of the imagination. I am flawed in so many ways. But I do know what I know. And that level of confidence you get from that comes off as arrogance. And so I've always been afraid of being arrogant. So I'm always, holding myself back. I have literally, and For the record, I bring this up because it struck me so much when it happened. I have had another grown man sit across the table from me and tell me, man, you need to just kind of rein yourself in a little bit and make room for other guys in the room, because your personality is so big, you kind of push everybody else into the corners and nobody else gets to shine. So you need to just rein it in and be make yourself smaller, dim your light a little bit. And I was like, wait, we're grown men, we're adults. You know what I'm saying? We're not new adults. We've been here a minute, and you're telling me your solution to this issue of you not feeling great about yourself is that I should just bottle myself up and put myself in the corner so that you can have some room to shine.
Yeah, they kind of want to cage your light, because they don't want to feel like they are going to be diminished just because you are there, which that's their own insecurity, but that's also their own shadow speaking for them, because they haven't faced that within themselves.
Absolutely.
You can only meet someone as deeply as you've met yourself, and if someone hasn't met themselves that deeply, they could never ever enjoy your light, in a way that separates them. That's like that. It's okay for someone to have that, and you be you, and let them be them. Just because somebody is being the utmost highest version of themselves.
I'd love to see that, though. I love when people are just like the best version of themselves. They're big and they're boisterous and they're loud and they're out there and they're just showing who they are. I'd love to see that in people. I don't understand why other people don't like that.
Because it's scary. Well, you have to really show all of you. And so it's hard when people aren't used to, and this is something that I employ for myself as part of this, I don't know what you would call it, practice, life, way of living, is to move in integrity, and always have always be as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
Like
honesty.
And so it's like, I'm not going to do anything or move in a way that's going to go against somebody else. I'm just here to do me. But yeah. I'm also, so that's like, the integrity in it. I'm also not about to, portray myself in a way that I'm not. I'm not going to pretend to be anything other than what I am, because now, say I pretend to be it's like lying on your resume, right?
It's going to catch you.
Yeah, I'm not here to lie on my resume. You know what I'm saying? Hey, these are the things that I've done. This is how I got here. No, I did not do this. No, I did not do that. But I know that I am capable of doing these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not. Yeah, I'm not. Walk in integrity and always have authenticity, and no matter how difficult it is, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
It's gonna piss people off.
But it's so much easier to be you.
I have memory issues, so I don't remember everything, so I don't remember enough to lie to people about stuff. I really don't. I'm like, I don't have the memory to be telling you lies. Because I got to sit here and remember what lie I told you and when.
That's a lot of work.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of effort to go through to just, for what? You know what I mean? And another part of this whole honesty thing is, you got to be honest about other people. And the hardest part for me, a few years ago when I was really starting to, get into this work, was being honest about my circle. Who was in my circle, and who was I keeping close? And then I had to realize some of the people that were in that inner circle, of people that were close to me, they don't need to be there. They don't have my best interest at heart. They're not even on the same path that I'm on. They're not on the same level that I'm on. They're not trying to do any of the same things that I'm doing. All they are is an anchor to my growth. And that is a hard thing to tell the truth about to yourself, when you realize some of those people are family members. Some of those people you've known for 30 years. Some of those people you've been close to. And you have to realize that, I'm sorry, that I can't keep you in this position that you were in, because you're not on the same path I'm on.
Yeah, and that's tough even for them on their side, because not everybody can see your path.
You change. You think you're too good for people. No, I
have changed, but no, I'm not too good. But I have changed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I started to vibrate differently about 10 or so years ago. I started making some serious changes as to how I moved, and you lose people. You know what I mean? You start telling the truth about things. You start acting in a way that's honest. You start being like, I'm concerned about, really important esoteric things. I'm concerned about politics. I'm concerned about truth. I don't like to lie. I don't like to be involved with people who lie or cheat or do any of that shady shit. I like real people. I don't like people who are fake, who are here, let me pretend to be this person in front of this person and I'm gonna be somebody else in front of this person. I'm the same guy no matter where I go. I may talk to you differently because of what sort of relationship we have and the moment that we're in, like when we're talking about stuff. But when we're done talking, I'm going to be me still. You know what I mean? I used to tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm still a dude from the East Side. I'm a young black dude from the East Side. That's who I am. That's who I grew up. I'm also a priest. I'm also a teacher. I'm also these other things. But that dude from the East Side still there. Same dude. So I'm not going to fake in front of you and pretend like, oh, well, when I was in the Eastern country, I learned these techniques and now I'm so much, evolved. That's BS.
Yeah.
I don't need to impress anybody, And I think that's really, when you become honest with yourself, it makes it easier to become honest with the rest of the world, and people respond to you differently when you're being honest. Some people are going to walk away from you, and some people are going to be drawn to that level of honesty and integrity because it's refreshing for them. You know what I mean? Especially if they're on the same path. If they're not, then maybe you need to lose them.
Simple as that. Easy. I mean, sounds easier than it is, but
it's not easy.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
When you got some people that's your ace, that's your boy, like, oh, that's my dog right there, and then they tell you something like that, like, for real, you really want me to just rein myself in, just tie myself up so that you can feel better. That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to hear from your boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because like you say, they become that anchor that's holding you back, holding you down in not a great way. So how do you come up to the surface for air?
You know what I'm saying?
How do you...
And they want you to sync with them or stay at their level. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to realize with people that you're close with, that they want you to fail. They don't want you to succeed or hit that next level. They don't want you to grow or become more enlightened. They want you to stay where they're at.
That's their own shadow. Again, everybody has their own path.
Yeah.
Going down these spiritual rabbit holes are not for it's just not for everybody. It's just not.
Some people like to be asleep.
And they do. And so let them. That's fine. You know what I mean? There's always going to be the role. Somebody has to play the role. As I always say, somebody has to play the role.
But HT, I'll lose all my friends.
New story.
I won't have my buddies with me.
New buddies. I don't know. Hey, new buddies, new friends, I mean, we all like gifts. We all like new things. We like shiny.
I like shiny new friends.
Yeah, that's great. That means you're elevating. That means you're changing for the better. If you know what I mean, it's not necessarily the people that you were with. Maybe they might meet you there later. You have no idea what their path is. Maybe that you leaving them could be that catalyst to propel them to get to where you are, or maybe even higher, to where now you got to catch up.
There you go.
You're like, oh man, like I see what you do. Like, okay, let's show me how you did. Like, what was your let's piggyback. You know what I mean? Let's figure out what was your path, what was mine. These are the things I experienced, and wow, okay, I didn't realize I had that kind of effect. I didn't realize you had that kind of effect. This is great.
Here we go.
Glad to see you here.
Exactly. Well, I the one thing that I will say of this, and I don't want to just be totally negative about it. This growth thing, the one major upshot as far as relationships are concerned is that you run with realer people. You end up with a much more genuine group of people around you, where you can trust what they say and do. Where you have people who have really good intentions for you, who are really like on board with you, and you don't have to deal with a lot of the BS that you used to have to deal with. So yeah, you're going to lose some people, but you're going to lose a lot of dead weight, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Those people are going to fall off, and if you're dealing genuinely with people are going to start to deal with you genuinely. You have a lot less BS to deal with.
Welcome to halftime. Give yourself and your mind a moment to rest. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. And slow, deep breath out through the mouth. Focus only on your breath. Take another slow, deep breath in. And another slow, deep breath out. Feel better? Good. We want to take this moment to thank you for listening and watching this podcast. We hope you take something positive from it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment your light bulb moments. We also want to thank one of our biggest sponsors that make this podcast possible, Podcastic. Check them out at podcasticlife.com. Back to the wisdom. This is just, I just want to say why it's on my mind now, and I'm thinking about all of the rabbit holes that you're able to fall down, especially when it comes to spirituality. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I see on social media a lot, especially when it comes to the unseen, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into the unseen.
Yeah.
But then you also have people who portray themselves as authority figures, and then you also have people who
gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers, and then you also have the people who are perceived to be high level in certain abilities, right? Yeah. So now you're getting into like psychic abilities, now you're getting into the astrologers, the tarot readers, and all of this who people would seek counsel from, right? And this is it's not regulated. There's no regulation. There's no board of directors. There's no rules to this, right?
No.
There's no rules to this. And so people who aren't in the know often fall prey to the people who are or pretend to be
charlatans and bullshitters, as I call them.
Yes. And I think right now we live in a time where a lot of people are looking for help. They're seeking that outside source. And I mean, you could go on the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, well, X now.
I'm not calling it that.
It's so
I'm not
weird.
calling it that.
It's weird.
That's one. That was just a dumb name. Off rip. I'm not calling it that. Two, Elon, I don't really care. You're not the genius you pretend to be. I don't buy that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's his platform.
You ruined a platform that the news use. You know what I'm saying? How do you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I still call it Twitter though.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter. They can.
I'll be the old man that yells at clouds. That's fine.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I'll be that. It's Twitter. It's always gonna be Twitter.
Call me the Luddite.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Whatever it is, it's always going to be Twitter. But like, you can go on these places, and especially TikTok, because that's where a lot of following is. And you can go and you see so many pendulum swingers and tarot readers and all of this, and it's like amazing how many people just give their power away.
Well,
like, and they follow these things so
religiously.
Yeah, like there are people who will go and look at tarot readings every day.
Yeah.
Who will look at astrology.
It's easier than looking at themselves.
Yeah, but they're also looking for this beacon of hope that's going to come and save them, and
because it's
give
easier
them
than looking at themselves.
Easier.
If you look at yourself, you got to do the work. You can't look at yourself and see a mess and then say, okay, I'm not going to clean it up. You have to do something about it. But if you're constantly seeking a teacher, someone who's going to show you the way, they're the one, then it's all external. I don't have to do any work. The leader already did all the work for me. They can just tell me what to do.
Yeah. And this is, mind you, this is not me saying that tarot readers and all that are bad people or they're doing something wrong. This is not that, because I do applaud the readers who will give you the real. Like,
right.
they're not going to sit here and just tell you whatever to make you feel better.
But you got to bell curve that shit.
Yeah.
You got to bell curve it. You got about 5% that are complete charlatans. You got a good number of people who are trying to do the right thing. And then you got a bunch of people who are, a few people on the other side who are experts in what they do and are genuine in what they do. But it's going to be the extremes. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find those extremes on this side. It's easier to find the extremes on that side, because a lot of this part of the bell curve is people just running game. I mean, the truth is this. This is what I tell people all the time. I'm like, the reason I say I'm still a dude from the east side is because I am a priest of Aphrodite. I am a practicing witch. I am a will worker and an energy worker and a magician. I do all of these things. I've studied all kinds of esoteric knowledge. But the thing that has been the most useful for me is the fact that when I grew up on the east side, I could spot a pimp a mile away. Period. A foolproof BS detector. You can see who's playing who just by watching human behavior and how people operate. People who are charlatans will show you who they are. If you are paying attention to who you are and being honest and genuine about who you are, when you walk up to a charlatan, they will show you exactly who they are. And you can peep them out because there's some fundamental rules. Like, one, a charlatan, one of the first things they're going to do is try to lord their knowledge over you and make you feel inferior, because that's how they gain power and control.
Yep.
So if you run into somebody and they're telling you how little you know and how stupid you are and how broken you are and how much you need them for $9.99 or, a credit card, then that should tell you off rip, walk away. You know what I'm saying? True people who are on this path, who are enlightened, generally speaking, they give most of it away for free. They have to figure out how to find a way to monetize it, because they give it away because they want to share it. And there's everybody wants to make a living at what they love, but don't get me wrong, that's not going to be their first thing. Their first thing, is going to be, hey, how can I help? What can I do to genuinely be a part of your solution? How can I guide you?
Of service.
Right.
And that's really kind of what it's about. It's not necessarily like the things that you learn. I mean, it's just knowledge and wisdom and experience.
And it's free.
Why not? Yeah, it's free. So why not pass it? That's what it's for.
Exactly. That's what it's for. And another thing that what you'll find is the people who are genuine will always loop whatever lesson they're doing right back around to you, empowering you, showing you that no matter what it is you're trying to learn, whether it's astrology or witchcraft or magic or whatever it is you're trying to learn, they will bring it back to you and show you that you are the one who are powering this, who are in control of this. Because ultimately we all have the same ability. Some of us are just further along the path of knowledge than others. And they're not trying to make you feel little about that. They're trying to show you that this is your power. If someone's telling you that you have to get the power through them or through this invisible being that they talk to, walk away.
Fast.
You know what I'm saying?
just leave. You don't even need to say anything. Just, okay. All right.
Like, oh no, thank you so much. Tell your deity I'll talk to y'all later,
Yeah.
No, you can't have my credit card or my social security number. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, not the souls.
Dude,
not the souls.
There's some folks, man. There's some folks.
Not the souls.
There's some folks out here who are for real with it. Like, hey, I need your bank statements. Can I get your bank statements? I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole because people are gonna get mad at me. But I'm just saying that there's a lot. It all comes back to rule number one: spirituality begins and ends with you. Rule number two: if you're doing your shadow work, then you know who you are. You have a good idea of what it is that you're starting with. If you're honest about that, then you can honestly have the hope to find what you're looking for, because you've honestly said, this is what I'm looking for. This is who I really am. So the next step is going to be to decide on your goal. To say, I want to be spiritually enlightened is like saying, I want to be in better shape. Well, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, that's very broad.
It's very broad. Be specific about what it is that you want to learn. Are you trying to just do self-improvement? Are you trying to learn how to manipulate reality? Are you trying to gain more universal knowledge and insight into how the universe works? Are you trying to create a deeper relationship with your deity? Okay, what is it that you're trying to do and why? If you decide on that and then you figure out what that goal is, then that narrows down all kinds of other paths. If you're saying, I want to create a closer relationship with me and my deity, well, then that's relatively simple. You can eliminate all the tarot, you can eliminate all the astrology and all that other stuff and focus simply on prayer and, learning about your particular religious path and figuring out what that is and, meditating on that particular relationship. If you're saying, well, I want to gain more knowledge of the mechanics of how this universe works, and some of the fundamental numbers behind that, well, then you're going into astrology, maybe tarot, maybe numerology. There's specific, crafts that you can get into to learn in order to understand that. But you have to decide first, what's your goal? What do you actually want? And what you're trying to get out of this. Otherwise, yeah, you're right. You'll fall down about 1,400 rabbit holes and
sometimes not be able to find your way out. That's the the falling into a psychosis.
How you going to psychosis, bro? That's a lot.
It's because some people, it's there's always moments where you can feel like, okay, I've gone way too deep, into this, and you can't find your way out. And especially when you're dealing with things, because you're talking about the mind.
Yeah,
you're talking a lot about the mind and how people work, and so you might mess around and slip and fall into one of the traps of your trauma.
Yeah. This is true.
And it puts you in a cycle that you weren't expecting or that you weren't prepared to get through, because now all your belief systems are now being challenged, which may change or may be holding strong, and those are those moments where you're being very heavily tested.
Oh, yeah.
So you will be heavily... This doesn't come without tests.
Oh, no. That is true. My test came, I was sitting in Word of Faith Christian Center, when I was 17 years old, and I was listening to a sermon. It wasn't by Pastor Butler at the time. He'd already moved to more of an international thing. He was doing other things. But I was listening to the sermon, and I was realizing that this was not resonating with me. It was not my thing. And I was like, and I started talking to God and was like, look, I need to go and look for something. I need to pursue this, and I don't want to end up in hell, and I don't want to, I was afraid of all the things, but it was when I told the truth of that wasn't for me. Not that I don't admire it, the people who are in it, not that I don't even, and I'm not grateful for what Pastor Butler taught me, because he was adamant about read your Bible. I read the Bible cover to cover twice. You know what I'm saying? Most Christians I know have never actually read the full Bible. They don't know what's in it. And I'm like, so if you start with owning your choice and saying, okay, I need to figure out what that is, you're going to be, when you step out of that comfort zone, you're going to get tested. You're going to get people, places and situations that are going to, say, well, what do you actually believe? What are you really? And you're right. You can fall into one of those traps. There's some wild stuff out here if you don't know what you're looking for. And there's some people who are like, oh yeah, come here. I got something to show you. And
then the tricksters and all that. It's a wild world. It's a wild world, and it's like we said. It's almost like there's rules, there's laws, but there's no rules.
Right. And that's a difference. There are fundamental, universal laws, but there are no rules to the game. Rules are something that men make up. Laws are things that are part of the universe, and you can't get around them. The bottom line is, what you send out will come back to you. That's a law. Doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. The universe gives you exactly what you give. What you vibrate comes back to you. Period. If you walk in darkness, you can only see darkness. That's a rule. You chose darkness, so therefore darkness becomes your world. And that's how this works, which is why I tell people, don't dabble. Okay,
please don't
dabble.
Please
Either
don't
get in or get out. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna get in safely. Start with learning, figure out some of these first three things, be honest with yourself, all that shadow work stuff, get with those things first, and then start to learn. But don't do the whole, I'm in, but I'm not really in. I'm just going to play with it over here. I know people who are Christians who dabble in magic, and I say, I'm sorry, you can't do that.
So you're going to mix your belief systems.
No, there are crystal pagans, don't get me wrong. There are crystal pagans who have merged the two belief systems. And for them, that's fine because they're committed.
Yeah, but if you're going to say, hey, I'll believe this one for now. Okay, and then now I'm going to believe that one for now. Like you're I don't know, almost kind of zippering your mind.
Well, it's like Christians who talk about hexing people. That's not how that works. You don't get to do both. Okay, either you're a Christian and you don't practice magic, or you're a crystal pagan and magic is a part of your religious study with the pantheon of Christians, or you're a magician. But you can't do both. If you say, oh, I'm a crystal pagan, then that means you follow magic within the teachings of Christ, meaning love everyone, turn the other cheek. How many times do you forgive? 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Period. You don't play with it. You merge the two. The ones who try to have their cake and eat it too. Oh, I'm a Christian. I want all the benefits of that. I don't do all that evil stuff. But when I get mad at somebody, I'm gonna go and get out my tools and do some little shady stuff. Then that's dabbling, and then you're going to end up on the wrong end of something you don't want to get involved in. Period. If you're in, get in. Understand that what you're getting involved in, be honest about what you're getting involved in and why, but don't play with it. It's not a joke. It's not a toy. And, you know, the way my wife tells me all the time, don't open any doors you can't close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one. Because there's a lot of doors.
A lot of doors.
Be careful of the ones you open. And make sure that you can close them before you open them.
Exactly.
Please.
Don't
Please, all you people that think that even just, I know this is a common one, and you see it in the movies all the time, the whole Ouija board thing.
Please don't play with Ouija boards. Please. For the love of whoever, please leave the damn Ouija boards alone. They are not they sell them in toy stores. I don't even understand that.
Yeah. It's considered a toy.
It is.
It's considered a board game. Hey, y'all, just everybody come on and communicate with spirits, not knowing who or what you're calling in.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many people I've instructed to burn their Ouija boards because they've had all kinds of bad things happen, and they came to the temple and they're like, so what's up with the Ouija boards? You know, I did this thing, and then all of a sudden there's weird things happening around the house, and I'm like, first go home, get yourself one of those metal pans that you get for like when you're doing a brake job or whatever, fill it about quarter with gasoline, put your Ouija board in there and light that sucker on fire, and then throw the ashes somewhere else, okay? And don't ever buy another one. They're not for you. And, there's some will say, well, no, I know how to use one. And one, generally speaking, if you're playing with the Ouija board, you're doing it with other people because you're not supposed to use them alone in the first place. Two, if you're doing it with other people, there's a very good chance they're not initiated, or else they wouldn't be playing with a freaking Ouija board, which means they don't know what they're doing either. So you have a bunch of people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, dabbling in magic and opening doors that they can't close or have no idea they even opened. Please, do not fuck with Ouija boards. They are not for toys. They are not for play.
And that right there is if you don't take anything else from this,
you know what I'm saying?
If you don't take anything else from this, please take that, because that is a common one.
Yes,
I mean, maybe not so much. Well, I'll leave it at that. That is a common one. And giving your power away to a lot of other modalities is also, just be very careful.
Own your shit. You are responsible. Keep that in mind. No matter what path you're on, what goal you're seeking, you are responsible for you. Keep that as your mantra, and you will have a less of a chance of doing something dumb.
Yeah, worry about the right stuff. You have your list of 5. My 5 is the I'll say follow the 5 Ks. And if you want to know what the 5 Ks are, it's don't worry about the wrong things. If you tried to figure out why none of them started with a K, you're worried about the wrong things. Exactly. If you just tried to count that on your hand to figure out if it was 6 words, you're worried about the wrong things.
Well, okay. Well, let me get my 5th one out so we know. I don't forget, because I'll forget that one. And because this is actually the one that's the most important. So you got, recognize the spirituality begins and ends with you. Do your shadow work for real, not pretend. Be honest in everything that you do with yourself and with others and in your pursuit of your path. Decide on your goal for real, figure out where you're headed, and then start walking in that direction. And then the one that's the key to really gaining knowledge and truly adopting this as a way of life is to recognize the infinite. That just because we are finite and we live finite lives and have finite cognitive abilities does not mean the universe has to recognize that. The universe is infinite, and that there is way more out here than any one person can learn in a single lifetime. You can spend your entire lifetime just on numerology and never learn it all. You're talking centuries of knowledge that would have to be absorbed in one mind and understood and applied. There are literally people who spend their entire lives just trying to discern what it means. So understand that the universe is infinite and that you can't know it all. So pick your lane, decide what's right for you, and understand that you don't have to beat yourself up because you don't know it all or have it all figured out, or that you're constantly learning. You're supposed to be figuring it out and growing as you're doing this. The universe does not have to reflect the limited mindset that we project. So like one of the things that I've been working on is the I was talking to somebody about the river of abundance. You know, this river that flows through the universe that we are all tapped into, and that you know why can't we, if the universe is infinitely abundant, why can't we have everything that we want? And it's like, because generally speaking, we all go to the river of abundance with a teaspoon and go, here, let me try to get my teaspoon of abundance out of the river of abundance. And it took me a while to figure out that it's not a river, it's an ocean of abundance, and we're all already in it. You don't have to go to it. We're all already in it. And if you go with something bigger than a teaspoon, you get more. You know, it's not the ocean that's doling it out in teaspoons. It's us coming with a teaspoon.
Yeah, it's us limiting ourselves.
Exactly. And that limitation for ourselves is what keeps us small, what keeps us from growing. And if you choose to recognize the infinite of the universe, then there are no limits. There are no barriers. There are no boundaries that can stop you other than those that you set for yourself.
But that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot, man.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
If you really process that,
there are no limits.
That's a lot. Then there's got to be a limit. There's got to be something that's not
nope
possible. So are you telling me I could say, okay, well, since there are no limits, in the next 5 minutes I could, I don't know.
Exactly. Limited thought breeds limited results. If you decide that you want to be president within the next 20 years, you could decide today to change everything about who you are, align yourself with the right people, get yourself into a popular race, start gaining offices. By the time you get to, you're in your 50s or whatever, you could be in line to be a candidate for president of the United States. It's a definite possibility. You just have to decide to be able to, to do the work. Like one of the things I was talking to some of my, at my job, I was talking to these young cats, and I was talking to them about the difference between how Marines think and how everybody else thinks. And I'm like, one of the things that makes us different is that words like can't and impossible are fake words. We know that they're fake. Can't is not a real word. Impossible is not a real word. These are words that people make up when they don't want to do something hard.
But it exists.
No, it's not real.
It exists.
Exactly.
If it's sayable, it's a word.
It's a word.
If it's a word, then
it is
exists.
a word, but it's not a real word. There is no such thing as something you can't do.
That is a Google fact. Because it's the same premise as, everything that exists was once a thought. There is nothing that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? In some shape or form or fashion, there is nothing that does not exist. Everything exists.
Exactly. And if one person did it, why can't you? The only limitation is your decision. You deciding if we're going to do whatever's necessary to make it happen. That way of thinking, it makes people think, oh, Marines are just weird. I'm like, no, we just don't believe in limitations. We don't believe that we can't do something. If we decide we're going to do a thing, we don't care what the obstacles are. We don't care who's in our way. We get it done. And that mentality is what you have to adopt in your spiritual practice to really understand what it is that you're doing. That the universe does not limit you. You limit you. The universe itself is infinite. There are no barriers other than those you create.
Knock down those barriers, people.
Exactly.
Knock down your barriers. What barriers did you put up today when you woke up this morning? What barriers? What did you say that you couldn't do? What did you put a time limit on? What did you say? Hey, I can't do this in 2 weeks. What did you say? Hey, I can't do this in 1 week. What did you say? Hey, I can't do this today. What did you limit yourself to?
We like our limits. They make things safe and easy. Because then, I couldn't have done it anyway.
Well, you said that.
So I can't have that new car because I couldn't have done it. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't.
It's funny, like sometimes, and I have to say it to myself too. You know what I mean? But I'll tell people, and sometimes my friends and they're like, "Oh, I can't," or "This won't," or whatever the negative idea is that something isn't going to happen or possible. And it's like, okay, well, who says that?
Yeah.
Who said that? Besides you, who said that? You are the only person that said that.
I love when people predict the future. When they're just like, well, I know tomorrow's going to suck. How do you know? You can see the future. You already have seen what played out tomorrow, so you know what's going to happen. Well, no. Okay, well then if you're not able to see the future, it means you're creating it.
Yeah, and even if you see it, it's still changeable.
Exactly.
It can still change, especially if it's about you and it's something that you can affect.
Absolutely. And that's the gambit right there. You know, you gotta own your spiritual practice. Understand it starts and begins with you. Ends and begins with you. Do your shadow work to figure out who you actually are for real. Be honest about it with yourself and everybody around you. Decide what your goal is. Go after it really in a genuine way, and then understand that there are no limits to what you can achieve. There are no barriers to what you can know other than those you set for yourself. You do those 5 things and you will avoid 90% of the super duper, magic rabbit holes that are out there that'll suck you into weird and strange paths.
Yeah. Even though the rabbit holes can be fun. Now, I don't want to scare y'all. Like, I don't want this to scare y'all into going down some of these rabbit holes, because some of them are fun. It's entertaining, and it's kind of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's wild. It's definitely an Alice in Wonderland, falling into the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's your life could be a movie.
It is.
And I like to say that some of my friends tell you, like, I'll tell them, look, my life is like a movie. Listen, the way this script is written, This is great writing. I'm not going to predict the ending, but this is great writing.
I love the idea when people talk about, like, when you die, your whole life flashes before your eyes and you get to see it like a movie reel. I'm like, I want mine to be an action movie and a porno reel the whole time. I want it to be so exciting that I'm smiling the whole time and people are like, does he know he's dying?
Yeah. If you watch the life of your movie, here's a question. I gotta have a question for the end of this one.
Go for it.
If your life was a movie, does it deserve popcorn?
Ooh, yeah.
Is it one that you would have to get the popcorn for? Do you need the Raisinets, the Sour Patch Kids, the drinks, the ices and all that? Like, what kind of is it a nacho movie? You know what I mean?
I would be honest. I'd have to hit the concession stand for mine. I have been through so much wild and crazy stuff. And don't get me wrong, some of it's scary as hell. I mean, I've nearly been killed multiple times. You know what I'm saying? When, getting jumped by 12 dudes, not nearly as much fun as they make it look like in the movies, but it's a hell of a story to tell later on if you survive it. I'm just saying, like, I've had experiences spiritually. I've had experiences in love and romance. I've had betrayal and anger and all kinds of, wild things that have happened. And I'm like, I'd have to hit the concession stand on mine. There's a lot to see. And that's what I think the goal should be, is to make your movie like, the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I can't wait to rewatch this, because this is good. I know I missed something the first few times. I want to rewatch it. It's going to be great. That's what I want my life to be. And I think everybody should aspire to make your life worth watching in those last few seconds or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. This is yeah. Make it a movie. Make it a trilogy. I don't know. Just make it go on forever, like Fast and the Furious. Annoy people. I don't know. Like, I don't know how many.
It's all about family.
Yeah. For the 12th time.
It's still about family.
Man,
it's all about the grandkids.
That is so long. Like, what are they on now? 10, 11?
I think it's 11. I think they're going to space on this one. I'm not joking. I think they're going to space.
Hey, if Spice and Dinosaurs is in your movie, add it. Make it good. I don't know. Free Willy.
I can't watch it myself. I'm sorry. My girl loves those movies, but I cannot.
Yeah. Maybe don't go Titanic. Don't go Titanic. I don't know. Maybe you want to go Titanic. But you know what's funny? It makes me think of if you watch in the Matrix, when they die, or when they get, I might have to bleep that, I don't know, when they get unalived, they have like a I don't know. It's like man, what do you call that? Where's the word for it? Anyway.
You're trying to find an alternative word for the words you can't say on YouTube.
No. I found the unalive for the other word. But like, it's before. It's okay. Like before LeBron goes and plays the game, he does the chalk toss, right? The Jordan thing, right? Okay. So now this is right before they get unalive. They have like a little moment where they like, if you had to choose a way to go out or like something to say or do, right? A catchphrase, or like a tagline, or like this moment, this little emote that you do right before you go, and it's like, oh man, like that was clever. They do that a lot in the Matrix. So there's a moment where somebody's getting ready to get unalived, and they go, oh no, not like this, not like this, and then it's like, yo, like what? Like, does anybody else notice that?
Yeah,
it's kind of like noticing the
you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, it's like noticing the ad libs right before. I mean, it's like noticing the ad libs in the R&B music, but it's funny to me when they did that in the Matrix, because it also goes back to, this is what you encoded into that. Yeah. This is what you encoded into the Matrix for you to go out. So it was already pre-planned. So you just triggered it.
Are you implying that we have something to do with our own lives and destiny?
That could quite almost might be possible.
I think that sounds like another episode, though.
It does.
That sounds like another episode.
Maybe that
sounds like a rabbit hole you're trying to go down.
It is. I don't even think we've went down enough rabbit holes in this one. We might have to revisit this one. I don't think we went down. I don't think we went deep enough into the rabbit holes.
Well, we're trying to avoid them. That's the whole point. Navigating, so you don't go too far. Because like when you first start out, like we're gonna have to do a level 2 episode. For people who are like, okay, I'm in the rabbit holes. What should I be looking for?
Hey, drop your Skittles. Well, get your string.
We could go into astral travel. There's a silver strand that you attach to your mortal body when you're doing astral travel, and you go deep. And how to create that, how to make sure you maintain it, how to make sure it doesn't get severed, so you don't get lost in the ethereal. Stuff like that. We could go into a more, we can take a deeper dive into the rabbit holes if you want to go there.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
I'm with it. So, any last words?
Ooh, last words. Navigating rabbit holes. I would say this. The purpose of the rabbit holes is to create a deeper and more fulfilling experience for your life. Do not be afraid of them. There's a difference between exploring them and getting lost in them. The exploration is the adventure, and it's absolutely worth it. It will make you more fulfilled and help you to have a more fulfilling experience with your life.
I like that. I will go simplistic and cliche.
I like cliches. They have purpose.
Life is but a dream. Yeah. Life is but a dream. So when you're rowing that boat, down the rivers of the rabbit holes, check your paddles. You know what I'm saying? But you are also the one who has the paddles. Mm-hmm. Remember that.
Always in your control.
But life is but a dream. Live it like one.
Yeah.
Live it like one. So yeah, I guess I'll leave y'all with that. That is your. I guess that concludes this episode of Lessons in Deeper Wisdom.
Deeper wisdom.
So, with that,
oh wait, before you go, since we're getting a little bit more professional in the way that we're doing things, I want to make sure that we do all of the technical homework that we're supposed to do. If you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you click that like and subscribe button down at the bottom there. Make a comment, ask any questions you have in the comments. If you are listening to us on the podcast, please leave a comment and ask us any questions that you might have. Like the episode, and make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe so that you can catch every audio and video episode of Lessons in Deeper Wisdom.
Exactly. And even if you don't like it, throw a tomato.
Hey, if you don't like it, say something.
Yeah, say something.
Say something.
Heckle. I don't care.
We got you.
I mean, okay, I care a little. Like
just like Cat Williams said, if you got 20 haters, you need to get 40 by summer.
Hey, got to. We gotta have more than that. But anyways, we will catch y'all for the next episode of Lessons in Deeper Wisdom. Think higher and follow the light bulbs. Peace.
Peace out.